Welcome to my video on black cumin seeds. Today I'll be covering some of the rich history and traditional uses of black cumin seeds and my key takeaway in that black cumin seeds bring about the accurate use of eicosanoids within the body and thus optimizing the body's performance and overall health. Before we jump into these topics, I would like to show you what black cumin seeds look like. See here, they're just little black seeds. And from these seeds are extracted the oil which contains the beneficial attributes that I'll be covering today. The book I have chosen to read from is, I'll show it here, Black Seeds, Nigella sativa, Pharmacological and Therapeutic Applications. Now there's many authors in each chapter in this book. Overall it was edited by two individuals, Andalib Khan and Munib Rahman. We will limit today's sharing to a few of the paragraphs contained in chapter 1, which covers how this herb was used in ancient medicinal traditions. Now I've taken a few snips from the book so I can share with you the audience as I read through. Okay, so here we're looking at the first snip, chapter 1, History and Traditional Uses of Black Seeds, Nigella sativa. Historically held to be a cure-all medication, the black seed and oil extracted from it are widely used in traditional cultural medicine, like the Islamic, Chinese, Malay, African, Unani, and Ayurvedic lines of treatment of ailments. The black cumin allegedly stimulates lactation and can be used for menstrual and postpartum complications by reinstating hormonal balance. The statement, reinstating hormonal balance, is made in reference to female hormones in this context, but Nigella sativa brings hormonal balance to all the hormones in the body, including the insulin and glucagon axis. And I've experienced that for myself. At work one day, I was sharing what I'd been learning about black cumin seed oil to one of my coworkers, and just some of the benefits also. And all of a sudden, another coworker that sits a few desks down chimed in and she goes, "You know what? I've been taking black cumin seed oil." And she began to share her story in that she's young, a younger female, and her husband and her had been trying to get pregnant and have children. And she's been to several doctors, many specialists, and just wasn't making any headway until she found another route to go. She, in her place of residence, there was a local nutritionist. So she began going to the nutritionist. The nutritionist had her implement several lifestyle habit changes, which included changing her diet. Everything was to be cooked from scratch, and she was also limited to those foods that were not creating an antigen response in her body. Along with that, the nutritionist had her begin taking black cumin seed oil in the form of capsules. Within 2 months, she began ovulating again. So that means that she could now become pregnant. So a great story, but it didn't stop there. Over this 2-month period, she lost almost 40 pounds of weight. And I even noticed when she would come into work that she just seemed a little bit just happier, and overall her energy just was more uplifting. So overall, I could even notice the difference in this individual. I think the key here is she not only took the black cumin seed capsules, but she also implemented lifestyle habit changes. And so both of these work together in helping to bring about balance within the body and to bring about more of an optimal health. Let's continue. Another common use of Nigella sativa seeds is treatment of intestinal worms and dealing with digestive ailments. The seed and its oil extract have also been used to cure inflammation and swelling. They have been employed as a cure for inflammatory pulmonary disorders like asthma, congestion, and bronchitis. The oil obtained from seeds is used to treat rheumatoid arthritis and arthritic symptoms in general. A large body of scientific evidence suggests that Nigella sativa seeds indeed possess pharmacological potential. This last sentence here is typical with anything that cannot be turned into a pharmacological patent. In other words, it's ignored until it can't be ignored. Let's continue with the next paragraph. Here, this section is titled Historical Background. This medicinal plant has been cultivated by the human race for more than a millennium. Archaeologists have found evidence of earliest Nigella sativa cultivation dating back to the 2nd century BC. Nigella sativa is a native species of southeastern Asia and Africa. Its medicinal properties had been recognized by ancient cultures, and its widespread use has been well documented in medicinal literature across ages. The importance of this black cumin in ancient medicine can be estimated by its presence in Pharaoh Tutankhamun's tomb, 1332 BC to 1324 BC, in ancient Egypt, and various archaeological sites around Turkey and Africa. The archaeological site of Anatolian Bowili Hoyak in Korum, Turkey, a pilgrim's flask discovered from the era of Old Hittite period, dating back to 1650 BC, contained a cache of Nigella sativa seeds blended with bee propolis and beeswax. This is the oldest evidence of the use of Nigella sativa in this region. The use of Nigella sativa seeds has also been validated as a currency in Levantine Aegean trade during the Bronze Age. Greek pharmacobotanist Dioscorides, in his book De Materia Medica, published in 40 to 90 AD, mentions the black seeds of a plant called Melanthion, Nigella sativa. He describes its use in foods like bread and pickle, and as a treatment for breathing ailments, headaches, toothaches, skin problems, leprosy, sight imperfections, roundworms, menstrual problems, urination difficulties, etc. This Greek pharmacopoeia is among the first systematically documented medical manuscripts mentioning uses and benefits of Nigella sativa. Nigella sativa is widely employed in the Asian traditional systems of medicine, like Unani, Ayurveda, Siddha, and oral tradition folk and tribal medicine systems of India. And next what we'll go into is we'll be looking at specific to the Indian systems of medicine. You can see here the title of this section we'll be covering is The Role of Nigella Sativa in Indian System of Medicine. The Indian system of medicine, also known as ISM, is of great antiquity. It is an amalgamation of the Indian thought of medicine, which represents a healthy way of life by balancing oneself and the nature. Indian system of medicine is a culmination of the influences of all other civilizations India has come in contact with, like Greece and Persia, Unani medicine, Germany, homeopathy, as well as indigenous ancient systems of medical science of Ayurveda, Siddha, Yoga, and naturopathy. Ayurveda is a medicinal school of thought, treating human body as a compound manifestation of 5 elements, namely air, water, fire, soil, and soul. According to this school of thought, a disease is caused due to dosha, or problem in any of these basic elements of life, shushutta. Treatment of disease focuses on overall healing of the dosha. Shushutta Samhita is considered as the Bible of Ayurvedic medicine. Nigella sativa seed, known as Kala Ajiji in the book, is considered as a vital part of the alternative medicine and Ayurveda system of medicine. Nigella sativa seeds are used for the treatment of ailments pertaining to all organ systems of the body, including the brain, stomach, kidney, eyes, and heart. In addition to these, Nigella sativa seeds have also been traditionally used for their nutritional benefits. The oil from black seed has been known for its anti-inflammatory, antibacterial, and antioxidant properties, which have proven to be effective in infections and diseases related to immune system malfunction in the Ayurvedic system of medicine. Another system of indigenous medicine comprising the Indian system of medicine is the Unani system of medicine. This system is mainly influenced by the Greek and Persian style of disease cure. This system of medicine originated during the Greek-Roman civilization and later was developed by the Arabs into an elaborate and well-developed medical science based on the outline from the literature written by the great Greek philosophers Hippocrates and Galen. The Unani medicinal system came to India with Arabs in the 13th century and was actively absorbed into the Indian culture thereafter. Since then, it has been known for its application in the cure and management of almost all diseases. The Persian name for black seed is shinaz, which applies for kalonji in Indian culture. It is also called panacea in Old Latin, which means cure all. It is also called melanthine by famous Greek philosophers Dioscorides and Hippocrates in their ancient texts. Nigella sativa seeds have also been used as a healing agent for an array of ailments like cough, common cold, headache, jaundice, hydrophobia, fever, arthritis, backache, colic, piles, paralysis, and kidney stones. It is also used in skin eruption, for instance, acne. The alcoholic extract of Nigella sativa seeds has shown promising activity against diseases caused by Mycococcus aureus and Escherichia coli. The Siddha system of medicine is largely practiced in the southern parts of India. Siddha is among the earliest holistic forms of traditional medicinal systems in the history of civilization. The treatment includes curing the body along with mind and soul of the diseased. The word Siddha has been derived from the Tamil word siddhi, which means perfection or heavenly bliss. The origin of Siddha can be traced back to the ancient Tamil culture. Nigella sativa also is known as Caranjiragam, which is the most popular medicinal plant in the Siddha line of medicine. It is used as a treatment for scabies, jaundice, peptic ulcer, impetigo, eczema, and flatulence. The homeopathic system of medicine, commonly known as homeopathy, is a scientific system of therapeutics introduced by a German physician, Dr. Christian Friedrich Samuel Hahnemann, in the start of the 19th century. The word homeopathy is derived from two words in the Greek language, like and suffering. Nigella sativa extract is used as a mother tincture in homeopathic medicine. It has been widely mentioned in homeopathic literature as a treatment for diabetes, cancer, microbial infections, bronchitis, liver toxicity, kidney ailments, gastric difficulties, and oxidative stress. In homeopathy literature, it is believed that there is healing in the seeds of Nigella sativa for all diseases except death. So what is going on here is that this simple plant contains constituents that help support the accurate use of eicosanoids in the body, thus having all these benefits we're reading about today. The key to eicosanoids is that they be used correctly. In other words, the right eicosanoids for the right circumstance. Black cumin seed oil encourages the synthesis of optimal eicosanoids while inhibiting inaccurate eicosanoid generation in the body. Now, this is the opposite of other seed oils such as canola, corn, and cottonseed, where the balance in the body is shifted to producing the inaccurate eicosanoids in excess all the time. I've talked about eicosanoids in a previous video, and I would recommend you not only watch that video, but also to read the book Enter the Zone. In the book, Barry Sears discusses that to achieve optimal health, one needs to have a favorable balance of good and bad eicosanoids. In the end, there are no bad eicosanoids. It's just when eicosanoids are being used in the wrong circumstance. The law of polarity from Hermes Trismegistus applies to this, as you want to have the eicosanoid at the level that it is going to work on it. In other words, if you have a gross situation like gangrene, you have to go cut off the arm or leg. If you have a situation that is finer, where there is an infection but not gangrene, it's up to polarity in using a different thing to deal with it. In this case, it may be as simple as the inflammation that your body causes kills the bug because it gets too hot in that spot of the body for the germ to stay. If you have a metabolic tendency towards a thing, you switch to a higher polarity in that you don't eat the food that inflames you. If you have a hereditary tendency genetically, you can work on the energy field. So it is a law of polarity. The higher you go up, the more refined the thing is, and the deeper you can get at it. But if it goes really bad and you catch it late, such as gangrene, then all you can do is something lower. So there are times when your body needs to have more cortisol, but not all the time. High cortisol levels in the morning help you to be wakeful and alert. However, constant elevation of cortisol levels in the body is similar to a light bulb with too many amps, in that it will burn out quickly. Optimal means it is the eicosanoids that are needed in the circumstance. Inaccurate means that the wrong eicosanoids are being produced for the wrong situation. If you cut yourself, your body needs to respond by, the clotting of the blood in the area of the cut. However, when the body balance tips to having more inaccurate eicosanoids most of the time versus the optimal eicosanoids, then we are no longer in optimal health or the zone and are more prone to disease. My dad takes a blood thinner daily to prevent blood clots. In other words, his body is producing an abundance of inaccurate eicosanoids all the time, which in this case promotes blood clotting in his body continually. And so he takes a blood thinner to counter that imbalance. According to Barry Sears, bad eicosanoids are produced in abundance when you are out of the zone. In the table I'm showing here, column 2 occurs in the Western diet, where the food pyramid was inverted and made it so that we now eat all these ultra-processed foods containing seeds and grains, which are packed full of antigens. One way to get back into the zone is autophagy, where you are not taking in any foods and there is not going to be any allergic reaction because you're not taking in any foods except the food you have already eaten. Once you get rid of the carbohydrates that are stored in the body, the glucagon is gone, and you begin burning fat instead of carbs. You have consumed all the old cells and old mitochondria, and only the new cells are now functioning with the healthy ones. This means that autophagy is one way to be in the zone. If you could then eat the right food that he has found that helps people to be in the zone, which is anti-cancer, which means that you're oxygenating your body at the right level to the right degree of cellular health. When you have the right oxygen burning the right amount of fuel, then you are in the zone. Thus, eating the right food for your blood type is another way to be in the zone. So the right level of oxygen to the cell will put you in the zone. And the main transport vehicle for oxygen to get to the cells is the hemoglobin in your blood. Black cumin seed oil gets the right amount of oxygen to your cells, meaning it helps that chain of function. And that is why it is so healthy for everything. One can purchase black cumin seed oil as a supplement or in the bottle form. When looking for a product, I made sure that the oil was organic and high quality, in that it was cold pressed and unrefined. And this just means that the naturally occurring constituents of the oil are not filtered out or damaged during the extraction process. In other words, the good stuff is not damaged. The oil does have a distinct flavor, so some find it easier to take the capsule form. I chose the bottle in that it is more economical, and have found that it works well when I mix the oil in with one of my meals, which then masks the strong flavor. What I do is add 1 teaspoon of the oil to my food after cooking. Since black cumin seed oil does have a low smoke point, by taking 1 teaspoon per day, I have experienced noticeable benefits. I'll share a couple of them with you today. Over the years, for most of my life, I've had issues with blood sugar levels and just being always out of balance. And over the past, I would say 5 years, I really have made huge progress and have felt really good about where I'm at. And so when I started taking black cumin seed oil, I was pleasantly surprised when I did come into a higher or a greater level of balance throughout the day. So I'm really thankful for this product, and it is a part of my daily routine now in helping me to maintain those blood sugar levels, especially when I'm traveling and I'm not always able to eat the right foods that I know will keep me in that zone. Another example is over the past few years, I've become aware of a low-grade histamine reaction in my body after eating a meal. As a result of taking black cumin seed oil, I noticed that I'm no longer experiencing these histamine reactions. It's actually surprised me, and it's a nice surprise. In other words, I no longer get any tingling sensations in my face or other parts of my body, and the swelling, such as in my face, is no longer visible to me. We have seen this in the past, that what you eat today can affect your future health, as well as your children's health. The famous example of this is the agouti mice experiment. The agouti mice experiment showed that when their typical diet is supplemented with B vitamins, choline, and betaine before, during, and after pregnancy, the mice gave birth to thin, round pups that are healthy. The control mice offspring were then fed a typical diet, and they had fat, yellow, and sickly offspring as the agouti gene was expressed. In other words, the supplemented nutrients had turned off the agouti gene. If you take black cumin seed oil consistently over time, then you change your epigenetics. In other words, taking black cumin seed oil is one way to have the right genes turned on and the right genes turned off, leading to optimal health. This concludes today's video. Thank you for joining me.